Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very happy to have Karim Kerachni, and let me talk to you about Karim. He is with 13 and plus years of experience in sales and management across North America and France. In his early career, he found his true calling was launching new ventures, creating systems and processes, and business development at large. When the right opportunity is in front of him, he does not hesitate to jump. He started a residential commercial cleaning company in 2018, which he then grew in a couple of cities across Canada before selling his majority shares in order to focus on his newest venture in partnership with PropertyGuys.com. Karim is currently in charge of attracting and selecting the best talent for his 20 franchisees available in northeastern Massachusetts, offering them his support to grow their franchise into a 1 million plus year success. Today, we're going to talk about the unexpected path to success. Please join me in welcoming Karim Kerachni.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you. Happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you. I think you're going to bring a lot of energy and excitement to the audience, and I'm sure they're going to get a lot out of this. So as always, I start with that easy question. Just tell everybody, where do you call home? I know you like to travel a bit, so where are you today?
Currently, I'm in Malaysia on an island called Penang. I've been here for a few months. I actually have been traveling full time for about a year and a half now. Since I got married, actually, I got married abroad, and I never came back to Canada because my home technically is in Canada, and I used to go back and forth with Massachusetts. But now we've been traveling for a year and a half. Probably for a few more months, and then we'll come back eventually because it's fun, but we miss family and also just being settled in one spot,
Yeah, for sure. But it just proves that you can work remotely and be successful. So good job at that.
It comes with challenges. It takes some getting used to, some creating routines. Often going to bed very late because of the time difference. But it's a small sacrifice compared to the payout, which is getting to explore and absorb different cultures and new experiences and so on.
Yeah, that's one of the things I would love to do. I do have 2 grandboys here that I hate to be too far away from, but I do love travel. So share the fastest road to entrepreneurship in your mind.
Sure. So as you mentioned earlier, I have done the startup thing, creating my own brand, my own business from scratch. It's been, relatively successful. Thankfully, I'm very grateful for that. But it took a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of sweat and costly mistakes to get there. And so as I had that experience and I've been, brought to that opportunity with PropertyGuys.com, I kind of discovered the whole franchise thing, the whole franchise industry. And, I pretty much fell in love with it because I realized that that's something that solves a lot of the headaches, the problems, the risks that entrepreneurs have. Especially in the early days, because for those who are not familiar, the franchise, when you acquire a franchise, you're basically buying your own business, either already existing or that you will start in a new territory, but from a known brand, a brand that has perfected its model for many, many years. In the case of Property Guys, it's been 25 years. This year, it's actually this month, they're celebrating 25 years in business. Yeah. And so you're buying into a brand, systems and processes that work, that have been proven and perfected over time, and a system of support as well. Most franchise models, they offer marketing service, legal, web development, how do you call it, lead generation, and so on to their franchisees. So that's also a lot of things that you don't have to figure out or you don't have to acquire for yourself. It's provided to you by the franchisor. So basically all of that to summarize, when you get a franchise, you're basically starting with a couple of years ahead compared to starting your own venture. It lowers the risk drastically. In the US, we all know that 1 out of 5 or more, 1 out of 5 startups fail within their first 2 years, and it can even be more than that. In a franchise model, 92% of franchise, all industries included, 92% of franchise pass successfully the 2-year mark. So that's a drastic improvement and increase in the success factor. So yeah, that's why I'm fully focused on franchise opportunities, and specifically this one with Property Guys that come for anyone who is looking to get into real estate but don't want to be just a real estate agent. That's a great way for them to get started as a business owner and in real estate.
So I know I was involved with franchising with Arby's years and years ago, and just from the corporate aspect, I was supporting them, and I know that in that it was about the 3 to 5 years till that franchise saw a profit for the owner, where they were making money, but they weren't bringing home a salary or anything like that. Is it that way with your system?
No, it's not. Thank you. That's I would call that a softball, because that is not the case with this specific model. You're absolutely right. A lot of franchise models, you have to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions. McDonald's, I think it's 1.5 million to acquire McDonald's, and you end up making a profit after a few years. And often the profit is not what you expected. You thought you're going to buy a McDonald's or a Starbucks. You end up making, 150, 200 grand, which relatively speaking is not what you expect from a McDonald's owner.
Yeah.
So that's not the case with Property Guys. And that's also one thing that I really value, is that it's a model that is made affordable for first-time business owners, first-time entrepreneurs who wants to give it a try to the business ownership thing, and not only affordable, but also the ongoing overheads, the cost to operate the business are very low because of all the services provided by the franchisor to the franchisee. A franchisee does not need to get an office, a store, does not need to hire anyone for at least the first year and a half, until they reach a certain threshold. Yes, it might be valuable for them to hire some people to take it to the next level, but for the first the first few year or two, you don't need to hire anyone. And so all of that combined, that makes your ongoing expenses, again, relatively low. It's mostly marketing, all type of marketing, and your phone bill and your gas. That's pretty much it. So now to talk numbers, because I love being transparent. I think it's super important to do so. There is nothing to hide. In this specific case in Massachusetts, the franchise that we are offering are between 30 and 40,000 to own your territory, so to own your business. Which, very low, relatively speaking. And even the ongoing expense, you're talking between 30 and 60 grand per year, at least for the first year. So basically someone who has, 80K to 100K can become a franchisee if they have obviously the right personality and drive, and they understand the vision that what we're building. If they have, what we're looking for, they don't need that much. And even 100K is relatively easy to finance, or to get someone to invest, to get a partner or something like that. So To answer your question, usually franchisee gets a full ROI within 6 to 12 months with this model because they start making money right away from their first month, and they have a quick turnaround.
So, what kind of background do they need to have, or what kind of training would be available? What is the business model for those in the audience that maybe are not familiar?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I should probably give a little rundown on what is Property Guys, because we've been talking about it now for 10 minutes. So propertyguys.com aims to offer an alternative solution, an alternative way of doing real estate, buying and selling in real estate. And they've been doing that for 25 years because, more and more people are sick and tired of having to pay huge commissions to have their property sold. So your own property that has X amount of value, you're going to give a cut of that value to someone to help you sell it. Often it is very valuable, but often, they sell it within a week or two because it's a very hot market and you have to spend 30 or 40 or 50 grand or more just in the commission. In addition to that, you have to get a lawyer and potentially a photographer and stager and appraiser and so on and so forth, inspector. So the bill, ramp up quite quickly. And we believe that it is not fair because you're not paying for those services that you're getting. You're paying based on the value of your property. And if your property is not valued that high, those people involved, especially the realtor, might not give their full attention to you. So with the Property Guys model, all those services that I mentioned and more are included in a package that is a one-time flat fee. And that one-time flat fee is typically around $5 grand. So for $5 grand, you may have a $2 million property. You can sell it. You can get all those services and for $5 grand, and you don't have to spend $1 more. And you basically get the same result for often a much smoother and seamless experience. So it's a no-brainer. $5 grand, 50 grand, and you get the same result. So that's what Property Guys does. And so as I mentioned, I'm in charge of franchise development. So I'm looking for those people who will champion this model, they will grow this model in their local communities. So we're talking a territory, an exclusive territory that is theirs in Massachusetts, various shapes and sizes. But because they're exclusive, they're one out of one. So anyone who wants to work with Property Guys, who has heard of the model, the savings, who just discovered it online, they list their property with Property Guys. It's your client as a franchisee. All leads, all those organic clients, it's a large portion of the clients just come organically, and they're yours because you own the territory. But on top of that, you really stand out from the crowd because, again, it's a very overcrowded industry. The realtors, there are 27,000 realtors in Massachusetts, and they all do the same thing. They all have the same value proposition. So when you come with a different value proposition that puts the client first, you stand out. And that's what all agents aim to do. They try to stand out. They try to have the best headshot and the best, LinkedIn and Facebook posts and so on. But with Property Guys, you stand out just naturally because what you're offering is different and is better. So I'm not sure if I understood your question. I just explained what is Property Guys and the franchise.
No, you're good. The further question would, yes, but the further question would be, we talk about Massachusetts. Is the vision or the goal to expand outside of Massachusetts this Property Guys?
Absolutely. So we currently exist all over Canada, coast to coast. There is about 100 franchises. Then we started expanding internationally. We actually opened in 4 states in the US. So Florida, in order, it was Florida, Texas, then myself in Massachusetts, and then Connecticut. So currently we have 4 states that are open and looking for franchisee and so on. And we also open in South Africa, where they currently have 14 or 15 franchise running. I know it's quite far, but actually that goes to show that it's a model that really works in any market. In Canada, we have very different type of markets, as you can imagine, from coast to coast. We have large cities, and we have the mountains and so on. And it's very successful everywhere. In the US, similarly, and in South Africa, it's a whole different country, and it's successful over there. So we personally, I aim to take over all of New England, maybe even all of the East Coast of the US. But Property Guys aims to take over the world.
Yeah.
I know there are talks about opening Australia, probably New Zealand.
Wow.
So, slowly.
Very, very cool. All right. So we went through a pandemic where being in real estate was a little tough. How can you stay motivated when the market isn't going your way?
That's a great question. So I'm going to answer in two parts. First, as a business owner in general, and I'm actually going to give you, for a change, some of my experience with my other business, the cleaning company in Canada, because we went through that. And, everyone at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was scared and worried what's going to happen. And we took it with, we tried to stay cool-headed. And take an objective approach. And so what we ended up doing was to see what are the needs within this current situation, and to offer adapt our services or even open new type of services to adapt to the situation. So very specifically in our case, we got some equipment, sanitizer, for large surfaces, electrostatic sanitizers that you see for buses and rooms. So we got a couple of those, and we started offering that to our clients initially for free, because whenever you open a new service, you should offer it for free to get familiar with it, to make sure your offering is good, to make sure your clients are happy with it. And then if they are, then you can start charging, and they're not going to go away, because you just offer them the service for free. So it's a reciprocity thing. So that's been very successful, and we adapted even the type of cleaning that we did, the way our cleaners, obviously the mask and gloves and the tests, COVID tests and so on. So we have adapted our processes. We ended up growing. So after the initial maybe first month, we ended up actually growing during COVID. Because we quickly reacted and tried to actually be proactive afterwards, and adapt our service and the way we did things. And I'm not saying this to brag or in any way, but actually I've seen that in so many businesses. So many businesses quickly adapted the way they were doing things, whether it is to go remote, work from home and so on. I mean, I've seen businesses obviously suffer, but I've seen also a lot of businesses flourish when they ended up, changing the way they were doing things, innovating. And I have a friend who had a shop, basically just a general store. She quickly created an online website to sell her stuff. And now she actually has majority of her revenue coming from the online platform. It took her time and money, and she was stressed and so on. I remember very well. But now that's actually the main piece of her business.
That's great.
Yeah. Now responding regarding Property Guys, it's actually going to be a lot quicker, because we are a business that is recession proof, in the sense of, compared to the traditional model with the agents and so on that are very reliant on how the market is doing. Property Guys franchisee are not. They are very consistent year round, because it's a model that works really well, as you can imagine, when it's a hot market, when people are selling, like crazy. There is, you just have to put a sign on your front lawn and your property is sold. Why do you need an agent? Just pay, your $4 or $5 grand, and you get the same results, and you save dozens of thousands of dollars. So obviously it works well, but when it is a colder market, when it is a buyer's market, with those huge savings that they're going to make, they actually can price themselves a lot better than everyone else in the neighborhood, and actually sell a lot faster. So they also, prefer this model, even when we have low inventory and so on. So, a high inventory and a lot of sellers. Sorry. So, anyways, and it works well in large cities and in rural territories. So, franchisee, just to conclude on that, franchisee are not reliant or enslaved by how the market is doing. That's what I'm trying to transfer here.
And that makes,
which is refreshing.
Sense. Yeah, for sure. And I could see if they don't have to give a lot of their profit away to commissions, then sure, they'll make the price competitive.
Yeah, and franchisee end up working on volume. That's, one thing I failed to mention earlier. Compared to an agent that works with, on average, they work with less than 5 listings a year. A property guys franchisee works with an average of about 190 to 100 listings a year and a similar number of buyers. Obviously, they don't work hand in hand from start to finish with every single one of those listings. There is a whole system behind, and basically it's a team effort. But you can see who is the real expert then very quickly who is the real expert in the real estate, in this local real estate market, wherever they are. The one who work with such a large volume of clients and therefore offers such high value and such high savings to each individual client. And so you can imagine the word of mouth, how it goes like wildfire. People go out of their way to promote this model when they just saved 30 grand and that's the down payment for their next house.
Yeah. So what is the importance of faith or religion in your business? I thought that was a interesting angle.
Oh, you froze. I didn't hear your question. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is the importance of faith and or religion in your business?
Oh, that's a great question. So I went through an interesting journey. I was raised Muslim, but I've never been practicing or never been religious in any way until about 5-6 years ago, which is precisely when I moved to a new city and started my cleaning business. Just prior to that, a few things happened in my life that actually made me open my eyes and realize like this life that I was leading was not the right way to go. And I started, looking into Islam and pretty much reconverting in a sense, but becoming, very, very practicing and very much into religion. The reason I'm mentioning this story is because I saw drastic change, not only in my life, my personal life, the way, my character and the way I deal with people and so on, but also a huge increase. I would say in my overall success in business, I would say in part, in part due to, God probably blessing me for to come back from him. But what's more relevant here is also the fact that I've decided to deal with people strictly, in all honesty, ethically, with respect, giving back as much as I can to the community and so on. And so all of that are values that I'd like to transfer even for people who are not religious or different faith. Those are, I think it is extremely important to be very strict in the way you conduct your business. Again, respect of your team and of your clients, strict honesty, trustworthiness. That's something when we hire employees, it's pretty much zero tolerance for lying or cheating or theft or anything like that. If you messed up, no worries, just tell us and we'll be fine. We'll move on. But if you lied to us, didn't show up to work for whatever reason, and we find out that was a lie, because those are examples that actually happened. We have no tolerance for that. So similarly, in business, when you start a business, you actually will have many ways to be unethical, whatever it might be, to cheat your clients, to charge maybe a little bit more, they won't notice, whatever it might be, you will be given that opportunity, and it is up to you to be really strict in your values. And if you do so, I guarantee that it's going to have a much larger payout on the long run, whether it is by having your customers and your team trusting you a lot more, and creating a long-term bond with you and your company, whether it is whatever it might be, it just makes more sense to be this way.
Does.
And also on the personal level, as a business owner, to be grateful for what you have, and to be calm and collected when you're facing challenges. So be grateful for what you have, whatever you have, to be grateful and content, even if you're not where you'd like to be. That's okay. Be satisfied with what you have, and look at others that don't have nearly as much, and that gives you this sense of gratitude, and in this case, gratitude to God. But also we expect challenges as business owners. and entrepreneurs. You don't be surprised that things will, will go sideways. So expecting it and knowing that it is just, part of the test. And how are you going to pass this test? Your resilience and tenacity, and turning to God for help in those moments. That's the way we see it in Islam. Everything is a test, and to see if you're going to be patient and turn to God for help. So it's the same thing in business, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. That persona that you put out there is seen, and and if you're trying to have a mask on, and I don't know, I always think, if I just think about, okay, what's the right thing to do, and then there's only one right thing to do. And so,
that's right. Yeah.
Okay, time is
no I like
by.
that question. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's not a question that I have often, and I could be talking for hours about that, but I want to give you some an answer that doesn't relate only to people who are religious or people who are Muslim. Everything that I said, I think, does everyone can relate to it, even if they are atheist or whatnot.
In my leadership training, I talk about the fact that I let my brain in my gut is more intelligent oftentimes than my brain in my head. And, your gut is often driven by that part that is your integrity and all of those things that you talked about. So whether you're religious or not, it goes back to what is the right thing to do, and always doing the right thing. It's been wonderful chatting. I think I can do one more rapid fire. And
sure.
So, how do you find these opportunities? You said you are expanding to these 4 different states in the U.S. and Africa and different. So how are you pinpointing the areas to go to?
So those areas, it's not me personally. I was talking on behalf of Property Guys as a company. Yeah. Myself, I'm aiming to obviously, have franchise all over Massachusetts and then all over New England. That's good enough for me for the next probably 5 to 10 years. And then we'll see. But in general, how to find opportunities, that's actually a very relevant question that I do get often. I feel like it is almost like a muscle to train, to open your mind to opportunities. I realized that's something I did not necessarily have, and I feel like I kind of trained over time to acquire, in the sense of, I genuinely believe that there are opportunities all around us, whether you're looking for a job or a business. And I would say specifically when you're talking about a business, when you're having, conversations with people, reading the news, whatever it might be, there are always, what is a business? Basically, it's answering a problem that some people have. They're willing to pay money to have a solution to that problem. That's what a business, does. And there are problems everywhere. So just, if you train your mind to find those problems, it can be local, it can be something, more global, to find those problems and try to find a solution to it. When you're talking to someone, you realize that, what they just said could open the door to a venture, or even just networking in general. You do come across a whole range of professionals in various industries, and you actually do come across some really cool opportunities in what people are doing or what they're actually not doing. I know it's a very vague answer, but I feel like it's something that you can develop. And very practical tips that I can give to develop that is actually to try every single day to write down 10 business ideas. I'm not saying good business ideas, but 10 business ideas on a paper. Do that for 1 month. So you're gonna have 300 ideas on paper, and then choose your top 10 out of those 300, and from there to try to do a quick analysis of the viability of the the potential, maybe the market, the challenges that you'll be facing, and so on. And as you actually do that consistently, you're going to realize that you're able to do it much faster. You're going to see more and more ideas. Your brain is going to work in the background in finding those ideas and analyzing
Analyzing.
them. Sorry. Brain fart. And analyzing them, and you might even be able to have this done while you're having a conversation with someone. Sometimes I'm having a conversation with someone, we're talking about an idea, and quickly I go into, okay, what is the potential? What would be the market? What would be the challenges? What would be the initial investment required? It might be all wrong, but at least, I have some numbers and I can assess really quickly if that could be potentially a right opportunity or not.
That's great ideas. Great tips too. Well, it's time for us to share my slides. So if you are just listening, we will give you the website. So the website is https://info.propertyguys.com/mass, MASS. And Facebook, you can go to Property Guys Franchises, MA. LinkedIn is Karim, and I'll spell the last name. It's KARIM-KERACHNI, right? Again.
That's right. Sorry.
And Instagram is Property Guys _franchises_mass. YouTube, you can go at Property Guys Mass, and those are initial caps there. I'll let Karim talk to you about what you can find when you go to his websites in different places. Go ahead and take it over.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So also to make it easier, if you Google Property Guys Franchise or Property Guys Massachusetts, you will find all those, all of that, just to make it easier if you don't want to, type every word. And you're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn, but you also will easily find my phone number and my email if you want to reach out directly. So what you'll find on the website, specifically on the website info.propertyguys/mass, you will find not only a summary of what we do, you're also going to find some testimonials from franchisee, the various awards. We won a ton of awards over time, and obviously a lead form just to put your information that will come to me. It's not meant for any kind of mailer or anything like that. It will come to me, and I will reach out to not only send you some more materials for you to review, but also to set up maybe a call, a Zoom call or a phone call to answer your questions and give you some more information. So it's not what I want to transpire here. It's very casual. Don't be worried to go into a big system where you're going to be flooded with emails and whatnot. No, it's going to end up with me or my assistant. So it's pretty easy and straightforward. If you have any interest, if you're a real estate agent, a real estate professional in Massachusetts, or just an aspiring entrepreneur who's looking for your first venture, it definitely is something that you should explore.
Awesome. Well, Karim, it's been just wonderful chatting with you again. I hope that the audience has enjoyed all of the information you gave them. It's a great opportunity for folks out there that are trying to maybe dip their toe in to entrepreneurship, and again, as he said, a lower risk, lower cost to entry, and lots of opportunities. So thank you so much for being a great guest. And
thank you for having me, Vicki.
You're so welcome. As I remind everyone, life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.